Good morning, Mayor's Rotary. Welcome to the July 25th meeting. We're going to start this morning out with My Country 'Tis of Thee. You have our invocation this morning.
Okay.
John's doing.
All right, Johnny.
Let's bow our heads. When there's turmoil swirling around us, let us be the calm. When the world is dark and full of fear, let us bring the light of dawn. When the voices shout and conflict reigns, let us be there for relief. When hope is needed everywhere, let us raise a voice for peace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for pinch hitting there, John. Sergeant at Arms, please make a note. Mrs. Spradlin, fine, next week. Mike, any guests?
Good morning, Mayor's Rotary Club. We have a guest as our speaker today, who Alexa will introduce in just a moment. But I also wanted to note that Steve is keeping track of those of us who bring members or who bring prospective members to a breakfast. And it's the easiest thing to do, just ask somebody, you want to go to breakfast at Brookside Country Club? And bring somebody in. His goal, which I think is a laudable goal, is to have all of us in the space of these 46, 47 meetings bring someone as a guest. So I think we can make that happen. We're starting to fill out the sheet and bring someone in. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you, Mike. Okay, last week we had our club assembly, and there were a couple people here that I thanked that I was not able to pass some things out to. So Chris Wills, thanks very much. I have a little thank you for you for being treasurer. If you want to do the makeup, then you can see what the club assembly was. It's an hour and 3-minute long video, so Frank, enjoy that one as well. And Sal, you weren't here either, but I have something small for you here, a pin and a sticker for being on the board of directors. And is Valerie here? She's not here today? Okay. And Eric, you were here.
I've been here, yeah.
You've been here. All right, good. Okay, am I coming through okay?
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, so as you saw when you walked in this morning, we have some committee sign-up sheets. We went through that last week. We've been updating that all week. The committee chairs have been contacting me, and that document is being saved in the Documents in Club Runner. So if you weren't here last week, all the committees are back there. Please sign your name up with the ones you want to be on. And if you also weren't here last week, watch the YouTube video because it'll give you a great overview of what all of our committees do. Those will be there for probably a couple more weeks. If you weren't here last week as well, Don, I think we got everybody that wasn't for the Rotary pin. Anybody else that didn't get a Rotary pin for the year? Oh, JP up here, fantastic. Thank you, Mike, for talking about the initiative of bringing one member. We're still working out the rules on that. Bob Halsey's actually winning so far, but since it was all family members, we're thinking maybe each family member is a quarter point. But we'll come back to you. And he's still winning, that's right. Actually, officially bringing a prospective member, we have one member so far that's done that, and that's Mike Lahanis. Just a reminder for the new Rotarians and membership chair, you guys were all invited on Monday, August 5th to the Welcome of the World of Rotary event at Bravo from 6:30 to 8:30. And reminder that there's a board meeting following this meeting immediately afterwards. All committee members are always encouraged to attend, but all members are always welcome at your board meeting. They're also worth a makeup. I did watch Ashley Laura's meeting, and I gave Jim Palmquist a $10 check. So, John, I went through the system. It's amazingly easy. Can't wait till I can swipe my credit card. All right, any announcements from the floor this morning? Ralph?
Just want to remind everybody that our next meeting will be first of the month, and I will be there to collect for the Emmaus Food Bank. And Michael, if you would put it in the trunk, then we have a lot of members not attendance this time, so that they'll be notified. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Salvatore?
Yes, good morning, Rotarians. Again, I'm just a reminder about the Feed the Emmaus Students program that we've been doing. It's very successful. It's going great. Tuesday, August 6th and Friday, August 9th is Emmaus Rotary's turn to do the service that week. It's from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, both on Tuesdays and Fridays. Very easy. Bill Erdman can tell you how easy it is. He's been helping us out. Megan, I know she's not here today. So if you have any questions, come see me. We definitely volunteer for that Tuesday the 6th, Friday the 9th. Come see me if you need information. Thank you.
Thanks, Sal. Karen?
Meeting in the Remembrance Garden on this coming Saturday, 8 o'clock. If you could turn up, that would be great, with some gloves. And it's just a little bit of light weeding and trimming, and it should take no longer than an hour. Okay?
Has anybody said they're bringing trimmers for you?
Yes, 3
Okay,
people.
good. I'm sorry I'm not going to be there.
Yep,
I'm
that's
going to be
fine.
on a sweaty pool deck watching my daughter swim.
That's fine.
Don?
August 23rd, Iron Pigs. We know Megan's not here today. She asked me to announce it. Look for things from her in your email. We're going to be going with the full package where you pay $15 and you get a meal. Or $2.50 a day for those of you that want to hang out for a while.
With that said, everyone, we do have a ton of stuff going on. So Mike has done a fantastic job with the trumpet. I'm really going to be pushing the trumpet. If you want to be engaged, it's all in there. Even the board meeting agenda was posted at this week's trumpet. So do your best to see that. You'll know what's going on. Mike?
Just a reminder, with all these activities going on, please have someone take some pictures. I'm really trying to make an effort to put the pictures on the website page. It'll be by month, and Steve, we need to talk about why, but I have to do it by month. I can't put folders within the one album. But send the pictures to me. I'll make sure they get into the photo library and they're up at our website. That way we have them at the end of the year, the end of the Rotary year as well. Okay. Second thing, a reminder that in 2 weeks, August 8th, we're going to install 2 bricks at the Remembrance Garden. John Cleveland and Carl Frantz, if you're available, certainly plan after that meeting to come out to the Remembrance Garden for those bricks. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Johnny? Do you want to come up?
Yep. All right, so I wanted to do a really quick exercise this morning. The PR and Communications Committee has worked hard over the past few years to not only spread the word of Rotary to our community, but also to increase communications within our club itself. Most of you have heard my announcements over the past couple of years regarding the SMS text messaging program that we've been running for the past 2 years or so. This service has been used to make announcements such as the following. Weekly front desk duties, which are the primary use of this service. We have event reminders, emergency club cancellations, usually due to bad weather, specifically in the winter. And the yearly Brookside closure reminders. Let's face it, most of us have actually showed up at Brookside at least once over the last couple of years when it's closed. So
makeup, by the way.
This program is an opt-in program, so it's not mandatory, but obviously I would encourage it. This morning I sent out a quick text message to everybody in the club that has opted in. If you have not done so, take a moment to take a look at your cell phone right now. I promise Don will not fine you. And raise your hand if you received a message. Just a reminder, this isn't the truth. For every hand that goes up, I will pay Don $1, a happy dollar. For those that have not received,
Raise two hands.
somebody start counting. For those that have not received the message, there are a few forms on the tables themselves. If you would like to participate in our program, please complete the forms and return them back to me. We have had a handful of new members. More than likely, I did not get to those yet, but if you have any questions, just email or give me a call.
I used to get them, I don't get them anymore.
You don't get them anymore?
Pay your phone bill.
Well, let me, honestly, if you have not received it, let me know.
Okay, all right.
Because there's sometimes what they'll do is they'll opt you out. You know, sometimes you'll get a message on your phone that says opt out by typing opt out,
Right.
or stop sending me the text. What'll happen is it'll put you on a blacklist, which is kind of a general blacklist. So you might get opted
I'll
out.
talk. We'll
Yep.
figure it out.
Okay. So Don, hope you counted the hands up.
17.
How much?
17.
So there's only 17 people in this room that received a text message?
You wanna do it again?
Yeah, can you please? 21.
Very good.
How about you?
I'm not gonna pick for myself. Thank you.
Just like a
We love you anyway.
I don't know, did I?
I believe you used the word pimp. Is that?
I don't know.
Oh, thank you. For my phone back.
I
Are you
did
checking to see
record
if
the
I got
session,
it?
so I'll double check.
All right, it's definitely a different Rotary year. Lost my place. We're still doing announcements. Anyone else? Don, you had your announcement. Anyone else for announcements? Okay, let's raffle. Sue, let's do it.
All right. And the number is 602. And there's no committee form for the audit committee, but we love members.
Really?
Yeah.
So I intentionally pulled that one. We'll talk about that.
581.
Oh, that's me. Yep.
Okay, so, Don, before you get started, there's one thing I need to do yet. JP, you are co-chair of membership. Last week, I gave your co-hurt and co-chair a nice Rotary sticker for thanking you for being co-chair of membership.
Thank you, I'll treasure it always.
Thank you. I would think sticking it right in the back of your telephone or on your wallet would be appropriate. Okay, our Sergeant at Arms, Don.
Melissa, thank you for donating money back. Now I don't have to find you. There was a lot of pictures in the East Bend Press. Mark Earl got a lot of credit for us without getting his picture in the paper for the motorcycle run. Sal, were you doing something steamy like 2 weeks ago?
That was my twin brother,
You have a twin?
baby.
Then Sam, we're gonna have to make it difficult. And then Rick, you were in there for some sort of reading program. Were you getting books read to you? And you got the free lunch out of it too?
Yes.
Yes, good, good. And I saw you ate the other kids' lunches as well.
They won't leave any.
I did get, Earl forgot his pin John was late, so I got those fines. I did get something from Jeff because he didn't pay last week, so there was interest. Any happiness going on? Sal, you got more money?
I know.
Oh, wow.
I have $1 for each decade my mom has been alive. We celebrated her 90th birthday party last week, and that's why I wasn't here, so.
Very good. Alexa?
I have $2 happy because Brookside has color coordinated with our speaker and our program today.
Awesome. Joe?
I got $5 happy. I was down in North Carolina last week sealing a driveway in 100-degree weather. My son was with me, he didn't complain. But then we spent a couple of days in Southport, which is near Wilmington, Cape Fear, and had a good couple of days. So it was worthwhile. And I wouldn't recommend doing that, putting sealant in 100-degree weather in your driveway.
John?
No, there's my.
Then you're fine. Eileen?
Well, it seems like everybody else in our club goes to Florida in the winter. I'm going tomorrow. And taking a road trip home, stopping in Charleston and a lot of places with a cousin of mine who lives in Florida. So I will not be here next week.
Gordon?
Yeah, $50.
I was in New York yesterday after the Fourth of July, so touring the Queen Elizabeth. If you ever want to have the opportunity to really cruise on a classic ocean liner, you got to do it. It's really fabulous.
Where is she?
Wow.
New York. I was on her when she was in Florida.
JP?
I took the family down to Bethany Beach last week. We had a great time in spite of the heat. Almost didn't go down to the beach one day, it was so hot, but went down anyway, and we had a great time. Nobody really fought. Everybody came home in one piece. James only got one sunburn blister, so it was a good
Good, very good. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Sergeant at Arms. Bill Urban's here to recognize the Paul Harris Award today.
Thank you, Steve. I'm particularly pleased today to present another Paul Harris. One of our members is well on the way to major donor status, so if Lexa would please come up here, I can present her with the Paul Harris Plus 7. Thank you, Lexa, for your support.
All right, don't get comfortable, Lexa. Come on back. And she's going to introduce today's program.
It's my pleasure to introduce a personal friend. I've known Janice for over 20 years. She is a stalwart member of St. Margaret's Episcopal Church in Events, where she sparked a program we call Family School, where we try to help adults learn English as a second language and had homework help and games for their children. It was a wonderful adventure and a good try. She also knows how to raise money. But that's not why I invited her here today. I was looking for someone to do this program, and when I found out that Janice and her husband Terry, who's not a big speaker, have been raising bees and selling some of their product, I wanted her to come talk to us. This is what I read recently. 2 weeks ago, the Royal Geographical Society of London declared bees are the most important beings on this planet, but they have joined the endangered species list. Was Albert Einstein correct when he said that if the bees disappear, humans have 4 years left to live? Good question. And Janice, will you come? She teaches at the West Coastville English as a Second Language.
Thank you for that introduction, Alexa. I'm used to speaking to a classroom full of elementary students, so this is different for me. I guess I'm ready.
Not so different, yeah.
As Lexa said, I am a school teacher in the East Penn School District. I teach English as a second language at the elementary level. And that really is my passion. But also on the side, my husband and I raise bees. We are beekeepers. And as she said, my husband does not like to talk in front of people. So here I am. And I'm just curious, how much do we know about honeybees? What do we really know? Does anybody care to shout out some statistics or facts or anything about the honeybees?
It's not a statistic, but our U.S. Senator he has a bee farm, right?
I don't know
Or
about
bee,
that.
or he keeps bees.
He's a beekeeper? Okay.
Okay,
Okay, yes,
They do a lot of pollination throughout nature.
correct,
Spreading stuff around.
correct. Anything else? Yes,
They make honey.
they make honey.
They use the sun to navigate.
They use the sun, very good, that's funny, people know that. Anything else? Yes?
They need pollen to be able to make the honey.
Okay, very good. Okay, so during this presentation, we're gonna find out maybe some of these facts are true, maybe they're not, but, okay, so here we go. What is the difference between honeybees and other flying insects? For example, the wasp. Well, honeybees have a stinger, and only the female honeybees have stingers, okay? Wasps have stingers, and they can sting you over and over again. And honeybees are fuzzy, and wasps are not fuzzy. So honeybees don't like to sting. The only time they'll sting you is when they're guarding their hive or when they're afraid that, you know, they're being attacked. So all the other hornets and wasps, they can sting for no reason. I mean, they're nasty things. Honeybees like to eat the nectar or drink the nectar from flowers, and wasps and other kinds of flying insects that sting, they'll eat anything. You know, they'll eat your orange soda or your hot dogs or whatever it is that you have laying on the table. Wasps and hornets, as I said, can sting many times. Honeybees eat only nectar and pollen from plants and flowers. And wasps live in mud or paper hives. And honeybees make wax honeycombs and honey. As beekeepers, we keep them in big wooden boxes, okay? But here you'll see, this is a bee's cap, and this is what they used back in the medieval times to keep some bees. Some Egyptians, it was thought that they kept their bees in clay vases. Do I need this? Can you hear me without this?
No.
You can't hear me without this? Okay. All right. So, yes.
Once a female honeybee stings you and the sting goes into you, does that mean they die?
They die, yes. So they know they can only sting you once and then that's it. They have little barbs on the end of their stingers, and when they sting you, it sticks in you, okay? But if they're stinging another insect, they will not lose their stinger, okay, when they're protecting the hives. Okay, so here it says, one sting and the worker bee dies. It's the female, okay? So they are very, they are very mild-mannered normally. The other day, I have a hive at my house, and I was weeding, and there were a lot of weeds around my actual hive I have at the house, and I was just right in front of there, and they're coming in like an airport, and they never bothered me as long as I don't make any quick moves toward them, or they're just docile. They won't harm you. Yes.
How do we know they will die?
It's just instinct, I don't know, that's a good question. I don't know, okay.
People are allergic to, who have allergies to bees. Is it bees, wasps? Is it any particular insect in the?
I think it's any stinging bee.
Any stinging.
I think
okay.
so, yes.
Right.
Okay, actually, they have pointy tongues. And their tongues, if they land on you, if you just let them go, their tongues are very soft, okay? So they lick the honey, or they're licking honey and a lump of sugar, okay? But they're very soft and they're very fuzzy, okay? How many legs does a bee have? Well, a bee is an insect, so?
6.
Has 6, very good. Okay, and what does it do? Okay, do you know what the honeybees are really fuzzy for? What reason? Okay? To collect the pollen, correct, okay? So, when they go from flower to flower, they're collecting the flower and it's sticking onto them, and then they use their legs, and they have a pollen basket in the back of their body on their one leg, and that's where they collect the pollen. And this is what, I have a sample up here, this is what the pollen looks like, okay? Some people take the pollen for allergies. Okay, so honeybees are insects with 6 legs, and this is a female worker. And how many wings do you think they have? 4. They have 4. They have 2 pairs of wings. Okay, and there's 4 stages of development of a bee. And these are just fascinating creatures. That's why I'm really into this. It's just amazing what they can do. But there's 4 stages of development. Up here you see the eggs in the honeycomb, okay? I'm sorry, the larva, okay? And the pupa. And bee it's looking like an insect now. It's ready to come out of the cell, okay? Here, if you look very closely, how many eyes do you think a bee has?
5.
It has 2 compound eyes, which are the big ones on the sides, and it also has 3 up on top, and then that helps them navigate with the sun.
Nice.
And they can even tell if it's cloudy where the sun is, and that's what they use to direct themselves to finding the flowers. Okay? Okay. So this is a baby bee that is hatching, and how they do that is they eat the wax out of their cells, okay, and then they immediately start working, okay. So here we have the larva, okay, and it's resting in a pool of royal jelly, and royal jelly is what the queen eats. The queen eats royal jelly only, all the time, okay, but the larvae eat royal jelly for their first 3 days only, okay. A baby larva are fed this for 3 days, and then bee bread is honey and pollen mixed together. That's what they will eat after that. And as it says here, the queen bee eats only royal jelly her whole life. Okay. Now that poor female worker bee, I'll tell you what, she has so many chores. She has all the chores to do in the hive. She cleans out the hive, she guards the queen, she feeds the queen. She has a lot to do in her lifetime. So here we have nurse bees feeding the baby larvae, and they vibrate their wing muscles to keep them warm. Okay, and they're eating the royal jelly, which is made from a gland in the bee's head. Okay, so she has that to do. No wonder her lifespan is so short. Okay, then she has house chores, okay? So they fan their wings to dry up the running nectar, okay? So I did bring in a frame here that you can see it's partially filled. All right, okay, so this actually is a frame that's partially filled with honey, and you can see on here, I guess we could pass it around. There's some cells in here, some honeycomb cells that are not capped, and you can see the actual honey. Now, this is what beekeepers use, okay? We put some in with the plastic frame, so right away they can start making their honey, okay? But if they're out in a hollow tree making their own hive, then they're gonna have to start from scratch and make their own honeycombs. But beekeepers start with this plastic frame, many of them. Okay, so if you wanna pass that around, you can. Okay, so the nectar that the bees collect is 80% water. Okay, so that's why they have to flap their wings and they're getting the moisture out of the honey, and the honey is only 19% water. Okay. So here's some more chores. Oh my goodness, this poor girl is tired. Okay, so a young bee's first chore is to clean the cell that they hatched from. Okay. Then there's undertaker bees, and this just amazes me too. There's undertaker bees because after the males mate with the queen, they'll die. Some workers will die in the hive. Okay, so the undertaker bee has to carry out the bodies of the dead workers. And it just amazes me, because I'll look out in my backyard, and in the morning sometimes I'll see a little pile of passed away bees, no, dead bees. So, yeah, it's just amazing that, you know, you have to keep everything clean. A beehive is more antiseptic or more clean than a hospital operating room. It's very antiseptic, it's very sterile. Okay, yes?
So is there an election each year to get a new queen, or how do they determine?
Okay, we're gonna go into that. We're getting to that. Okay. So even like the queen, you know, the queen never leaves the hive until she's ready, until she's older. Okay? So she stays in that hive, and her job is to get those eggs laid. All right? So even when she messes, that's taken out. Okay? So it's a very sterile environment. And if a mouse was to get into a beehive, like in a real, like in ours, it's very difficult to get into because we keep ours closed. But out in the open, in a hollow tree, maybe a mouse would get into the beehive, and the bees would sting that mouse until it was dead. Well, how do they get it out of their hive then? They want it very clean in there. Okay, so what they do is they almost mummify that mouse. They use propolis, which I don't think I have any on that. Oops, I don't have, now I hear myself. Okay, propolis is something that they're collected from the sap of trees, and they use that to seal up the tiny holes in their beehives, but they also use it to wrap, for example, that dead mouse up, and they almost mummify it inside their hive, so it doesn't present any germs, or when it's decaying, you know, their hive will still be sterile. Okay. Honeycombs are built with two sides, and the cells are slanted upwards so the honey doesn't run out. And there are guard bees protecting the hive, and this is kind of a stance that they have when they're guarding. But they're also, the queen has a court, okay? And the queen has about 12 worker bees who are her guards, and they do nothing except wait on that queen bee. What a life. Okay, so here it says, how is a queen made? So a young larva is chosen by the bees and fed only royal jelly. And they make her cell extra large because they know she's going to be bigger. So she will hatch in 16 days and then leave the hive to mate with multiple drones. So she will leave the hive only that one time, and she will mate in the air with about 20 drones. And that, well, we'll get to that, but she'll lay between 1,500 and 2,000 eggs in a day. Okay, so here it says, okay, her attendant bees clean up everything after her, and the queen lives for about 3 to 4 years. Okay, so this is a queen bee in the making right here up at the top. And she's in royal jelly, and it's a white pudding-like food secreted from a gland in the nurse bee's head. Okay, so that's what she's surrounded by. And people like to eat that royal jelly. You can purchase that at health food stores.
No wonder it's expensive.
It's expensive, yes. But you can get the same nutritional value from regular honey too. Okay? So how are queens made? Here we go. Workers create a special larger cell called a supersedure cell and feed a regular larva only royal jelly. And this is the queen when she's hatching. So they know when it's time to make a new queen. Yes?
Does every hive have its own queen bee?
Yes. There's only one queen. Okay? When you see a bee swarm, don't call the exterminator. Please don't. We had a plumber friend of ours call us, and he said, there's a beehive in my neighbor's tree, and she's going to call Terminex. And we said, don't do that, okay? They're looking for another place to go. That's simply what they're doing. They're looking for another place to go. A queen will be made, okay, and then she leaves, and then she takes so many workers with her. Okay? So outside the hive, this is what the field bee does. Okay, this again is the worker. This again is the female. She's doing all the work. Can you guess what they are collecting? Well, yes, we know what that is, right? Okay. What have they collected here? Do you know what they collected? Nectar. Right. They're collecting the nectar. And you can see, well, the frame there isn't nectar. You can see there that it looks really wet. If it looks really wet like that, they can't cap it. If they would cap it, it would be all runny. It wouldn't turn honey. So before they cap it, they have to bat their wings to dry it out. And then they cap it with the wax. Okay. The worker bee also does a dance to let the other workers know where the pollen is, where all the honey, where all the pollen and the nectar is, okay? Because that's their source of food. They dance to give the workers direction on where their food source is, and sometimes they get very excited about finding good food. We have a hive at our house, and we live next to a park in Macungie, and my husband gets so excited when he sees all the clover popping up. And he'll take a walk over there and he'll see, are my bees out here? Yes, your bees are out here. They're doing good. Okay, so let's talk about the boys. The boys are called drones. They're a little bit bigger than the female. Okay. They have one job to do in the hive, and that is to mate with the queen. Now, the queen will lay maybe 20 drone eggs in the hive. And she can determine if they're gonna, what eggs are gonna be what. Okay, she makes up its instinct. Okay, I'm gonna make these all field workers, these are females, and then I'm gonna make so many drones. Workers must feed the drones. They do not collect pollen or nectar or do any hive work. Drones are the biggest honeybee with large eyes, and they have no stinger. Okay, the video wasn't working here, but he is the noisiest, okay? They don't defend the hive. That's done by the females. So once they mate, and they usually mate in the air, they're done. Okay, so we're gonna get into speaking about parts of the hive. Okay, what you see here is what we have at my house. And we have 21 hives throughout the Makunji area. Okay. I'm told I have to hurry. Okay, so this is what a hive looks like. The white at the bottom is called a deep, and that's where the food and the nursery area is for the bees, okay? The next two are the pink and purple and yellow, or the next three are pink, purple, and yellow boxes, and that's the honey supers, and that's where all the honey is kept. Okay, this is a beekeeper in action in some of his tools. He has to wear my husband's so used to it anymore. Sometimes he goes over to care for his bees. He doesn't even put on his hood or gloves. This is what the frames look like in a hive. Oh, I'm sorry. There's usually 10 frames in a hive. And we usually, the bees themselves need about 50 pounds of honey. We can't take, we need that much honey for them to overwinter. That's their food for the winter. Okay, can you guess two things that we collect from bees?
Honey and beeswax.
Okay, here's a hint. One is sweet and the other is made into candles. So, yes, honey, which some people say it is very good for allergies. So if you're allergic to, for example, goldenrod, you will want to try to get a honey that was collected in that period of time, late August, early September, okay? And beeswax. Beeswax has a very high melting point, so it's better than other candles. So if you have a beeswax candle, it'll stay straighter for longer. Okay. They also make pollen and propolis and royal jelly, which we talked about earlier. This is what a frame looks like. And the queen. Can you find the queen? Yeah. The queen is even larger than the drone, and it's up there. You can see it marked. Has a little dot on its head. It's almost an inch, 3/4 to an inch. Okay. This is a frame of, okay, and that was honey. And we get honey from all different sources. Clover honey is the most popular. Your lighter honeys sell the best. Your darker honeys have a very strong taste. Okay, this is what a wild comb looks like. Okay, this is how we extract honey. That's a hot knife, decapping knife, and we take the caps off of the honeycomb. And then we put that frame along with others into a big tub. I don't know if I have a picture. We put it into a big tub, and then we turn the handle, and with centrifugal force, it forces the honey out to the sides of the tub and down to the bottom, and then that's the way we get the honey. Okay. Honeybees hibernate over the winter. Wasps do not. Okay. The drones are evicted. The workers, this is amazing. I mean, when my husband put this hive at my house, it was amazing that they were going to stay alive over the winter. And it gets to be almost 90 degrees in the hive in the winter because the queen is in the middle. They keep the queen in the middle and all the workers around her, and they're batting their wings and they're constantly rotating around that queen. And that's what's keeping her so warm and the hive warm. Okay. Of course, there's bees, diseases and pests. Okay, and that's why we have to encourage people to be beekeepers. They're very important. Okay. Don't use pesticides. Plant a bee garden. Okay. Some people are very brave. Okay. They are cute as a puppy. Okay. So I do have some honey here for sale if you would like. And I also do have more information if you would like. And I thank Lexa for inviting me tonight or this morning. And if you have any questions, I'll take them afterwards. Thank you.
Quick question. When
Yes.
my youngest was about 3 or 4 years old, went out at his Graham's house, and there was a very large swarm there. Well, the family knew a beekeeper to come, but absent that, I would imagine that swarm is very dangerous to a child. Is that correct or no?
They could be, yes, yes. If they get stung and the child is allergic, yes, yes.
How far will bees travel in the course to get the honey and nectar?
They could go as far as 4 miles. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what's the demographics in the bee city? You mentioned about the workers are females, and the drones are males, and there's one queen. So what are the demographics? How many females, how many males?
Okay, there's the queen, the female, and maybe 20 drones. There could be 10,000 to up to 50,000 in a colony.
That most of them are female.
Yes.
Most of them are the workers.
Yes.
And
The drones are simply to mate.
to mate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what a great job.
Isn't that? But then they die. Yes.
That's the way it's supposed to work.
The drones aren't mating all the time. What are they doing, sitting around watching TV?
No, I don't really know. I can't tell you. But thank you. It was a pleasure.
Janice, thank you very much. We have a thank you gift for you here. Actually 2, and a little sticker that you can put on your cell phone. Okay. Thanks so much. Okay, let's please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remember, everybody, board meeting following this meeting. Thank you.